Hi, my name is Andy Katz. I live in a very small town of wine producing, Healdsburg, California. I've produced 12 books. I've photographed many album covers. I've been to 90 different countries. I love photography. I've been taking pictures for over 40 years. I'm more excited about photography now than ever. I'm going to be talking to Mark, and we're going to have a good time. So if you want, stay around and listen to what we have to say.
Welcome to the Mark Silber Show, Advancing Your Photography, brought to you by SanDisk. We connect you with photographers who have mastered their craft, sharing their insight and showing you their photography tips so you can go right out and use them. Andy, thanks for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Tell me about your genre of photography and the type of work you really love to do.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I like to do a lot. I mean, I've done a lot of landscapes, and I was speaking at a convention and somebody in the audience said, do you ever shoot people? And I went, I love shooting people. I mean, I used to do record album covers. I did album covers for Dan Fogelberg and Doobie Brothers, and I spent a lot of time doing that stuff, and I love shooting people because I'm a people person, you know. So I decided at that point I'm going to do a new book on to really focus on people. So that's why I started on this book that I'm working on now on India. So and I do a lot of black and white nudes. So it's really I like to do a lot of different things. I don't, you know, I'm not pigeonholed into one particular subject. Gotcha. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of your photo ecosphere, what's the importance of the card?
Without that, you know, that's it. Those are your images. I mean, so the importance, it's 100% important. If that fails, you're in deep, deep trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that you don't like to think about. You just want to have a card that's extremely reliable and don't have to think it. And I use SanDisk all the time, and I've never had a problem with it.
Okay, so what are some of the key things that you use every time you pick up a camera or even before you pick one up?
The main thing I use is light. The light of the sun.
Yeah.
And you know, I used to do studio work. I do very, very little of that now because I love what the sun does. And I mean, in order to take a great photograph, you got to have, I mean, there's three things you have to have. You have to have content, you got to have composition, you've got to have light. And if you don't have one of those, you're pretty much screwed. I mean, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a great idea of something really interesting and shoot it at noon, it's going to look like hell. So I like it when the sun is very, very close to the horizon and the light is rich and red and yellow and creates these gorgeous shadows. And yeah, so that's the most important thing for me. During the day, if I'm shooting, you know, I'll scout during the day, or if perhaps I have a glass of wine or something like that, but I won't shoot unless the light is really, really perfect.
So you pick those golden hours?
Exactly, yeah, yeah. And sometimes afterwards too. You know, after the sun sets, sometimes you get this magnificent, really soft light, and you know, before the sun comes out, you have the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Andy, any particular tips for composition?
Well, the way when I'm looking through the viewfinder, before I look through the viewfinder, I look at what I'm thinking about taking a picture of, and kind of in my mind going, okay, this will work, this will work, this is what I want in. And then when I'm looking through the viewfinder, it's very important not only in the middle of the photograph, but what's on the perimeter of the photograph. Look at that and say, is that really helping? I mean, do I need that space? Should I come in closer? And I think one thing that's a little bit dangerous these days is you've got these really exquisite zoom lenses. Not like the old days. I mean, these Zeiss zoom lenses that I have are spectacular sharp throughout the whole thing. The idea of sitting back and composing while zooming, I think is really dangerous, because it's very different between doing that and actually moving up to somebody and shooting, or moving back to somebody and shooting. So realize what's in your viewfinder. Make sure that the surrounding, the perimeter area is something that you want in the composition. That's really critical. And don't be, you know, digital photography is pretty easy. You know, pixels are free. Don't be sloppy. The idea of going, well, I'll just shoot a loose picture and I'll Photoshop it or crop it when I get back there. Don't go into that. That's a really bad way to take photos. Make sure that the image you're going to take is exactly what you want on the screen. When you get back, you don't want to crop it at all.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any final tips for viewers who just want to become better photographers?
Shoot, shoot, shoot. Yeah, spend the time. I mean, if you're going to do it, do it. Really put some energy into it. Wake up early, shoot when the light is gorgeous, and just keep on shooting, keep on shooting, keep on shooting. Come up with a portfolio. It's really important.
You got it.
Yeah.
Andy, hey, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Be sure to subscribe to our blog now to stay updated on my show, and we'll give you tips and insight to keep advancing your photography. Also, check out our guests' website for a closer look at their work. I'd like to thank SanDisk for sponsoring our show. Tune in to our next episode of Advancing Your Photography for an inside look at another photographer's world. Until then, this is Mark Silber reminding you to get out and capture your own images of life.